Question 17. For the following equation, find three ordered pair solutions by completing the table, then use the ordered pairs to graph the equation. All right, so very similar to what we just looked at in question 13. This time we've been given the equation y equals negative 8x, and again a corresponding table of values, an xy table of values that we are going to complete. Now, notice what's really nice about this question. We have the y all by itself, and notice that all of the values we were given are x values. So we have three ordered pairs to find. Each of these ordered pairs is missing the corresponding y value. So all we have to do for this question is simply plug each of these x values, each of these x coordinates into the equation right here for x, simplify, and that will give us the corresponding y value. So this equation is really nice to work with. So let's go ahead and actually do that. By first and foremost, we want to find the missing y when x is 0. So we'll let x be the teal color as always, and the y be the pink color as always, and get to work. So y equals negative 8x. Well, let's plug in our value for x here to solve for y. So we have y is equal to negative 8 times x, and for this first point we want x to be 0. Well, cleaning this up, we're going to end up with y equals, and here on the right hand side when we distribute, negative 8 times 0 of course is just 0, so that one is finished, right? When x is 0, the corresponding y is also 0. Nice and easy for the first point. Let's take a look at the second point here. So the second point says let x be negative 1 and find the corresponding y value. So we have y is equal to negative 8 times x, but again we're going to let the x be negative 1. Clean this up and see what we get. So we have y is equal to negative 8 when we distribute times negative 1. A negative times a negative is always positive, so our second ordered pair is negative 1, comma, positive 8. And last but not least, let's find that third missing y. So we're going to let x be positive 1, and the y again is missing, so let's find it. Y is equal to negative 8 times x, but x is positive 1, and solving here for y, we end up with y equals, distribute, negative 8 times positive 1, of course, is negative 8. So there we have it. When x is positive 1, the corresponding y is negative 8, so we'll fill that in. And now we've got our table of values complete, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of everything on the screen, and we have to now plot this line using any two of these points. So just like we did with question 16, I'm going to click to enlarge the graph here, and now we've got a pretty good view. We know that when we're plotting just linear equations, straight lines, we're going to simply use the line tool, and we want to choose two of these 3 points to plot. Well, I'm going to choose the really easy one. I'm going to be a little lazy here and choose the 0, 0, because we know that we always start when plotting points at the origin 0, 0. Well, if I'm starting at the origin and I'm trying to plot the origin, well, I don't have to go anywhere, right? And again, just like we did before, confirm that the point you are trying to plot is the same point that is referenced here in the upper right hand corner of this yellow box. So I want to plot the point 0, 0, and you can see here in the yellow box in the upper right that in fact that is where my cursor is hovering over. So I'm ready to plot that point by left clicking once on my mouse, and you can see that I've locked in that first point, and now I have a line that is starting to be created, and it's just waiting for me to plot the second point so that this line will be locked in. So let's go back here, and how about, well, we plotted the second point from question 16. How about we plot the third point for this question? So let's plot positive 1, negative 8. So again, we always start at the origin 0, 0. That positive 1 tells us to move to the right 1 unit, and then negative 8 tells us to fall 8 units. And again, before I click to confirm that this is in fact where I want my second point to be, I'm going to verify in the upper right hand corner of that yellow box to make sure that, and again I moved it, but I want to make sure that this point here is in fact +1, -8. So before I click, is that point +1, -8? It sure is. So I'm going to click. That locks my line in, and I can go ahead and hit save. Again, you can see we come back to the test screen. The line we just created is now locked in as our answer, and we're ready to proceed to question 18.